Race officials score Byron, LaJoy, and Harvick despite them being involved in the multi-car pileup. Brett, based off your grin, you go first. Spot on, spot off.
I just don't know how you can cause a massive pileup, and the 24 caused the pileup, and then multiple cars drive by the scene of the accident, and then after that, the track gets completely blocked, and then we roll off, and the 24 is allowed to restart the race, and I think what was the 10th position. So I am 100% spot off for William Byron, not only causing the wreck, but getting to essentially retain where he was on the racetrack, Freddie.
Yeah, I so we were right behind this. We were probably the fourth or fifth car in line, and it was not
That's
my
normal.
section. Yeah, it was not my section. So I heard our spotter say, "Get right, get right." We kind of slid through the corner, and we were the first car when Byron had slid off to the left, and then Harvick kind of spun in reaction to that, and it kind of created the seven to spin, and then those two had the track blocked, and then we were the first car like nosed up to the middle of them. So once they moved, we kind of shot through there. But at the same time, I don't know, five or six guys had passed us on the right before the seven had completely blocked the track. So we rolled through there, and Bubba has still got a chip on his shoulder over Darlington a little bit. So he's like, I better get my spot back. I didn't hit nothing. I didn't touch nobody. And I said, well, we stopped. We'll see what they do. I don't know. So I was fully anticipating about seven
Losing
or eight cars.
spots.
Yeah, about 7 or 8 cars being ahead of us. And I even said on Channel 2, if anybody was listening, I said, man, he's not going to be happy, but I think they're going to put us back about 10 spots. Because he had driven all the way back up to like fifth. And I said, I think they're going to put us back a bunch here. So then they start calling out the lineup, and it was the guys that were in front of us already. And then it was the 45 and the 54 who were the first two to miss it on the right, Reddick and Gibbs. They kind of squeezed through on the right first. And then I think the next group was like Denny and maybe the 16, AJ. As a couple more guys went through on the right. Well, we restarted in front of them. And I was like, the lineup comes out, and it said all those guys. And then it was 24, 4, 7. And I'm like, then there was 23, I think. And I'm like, oh, wow, we got our spot back, essentially. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody got their spot back. And then they get on the radio and they're like, listen, the track was blocked. So, we're going to go off the freeze. And this is the lineup off the freeze. And I'm like, okay, but nobody gets penalized for being the one that blocked the track? Like, I don't understand. Like, I get it. The track is blocked, and you're. I don't know if this was an adjustment they made this week because of the potential for this. But like normally, if you stop in a wreck, you would go wherever you blend. But I know this was probably in rare instances again. Um, but like these guys were the three cars that had the track blocked. The 24 was the one that nosed it into the wall there in 11. The 4 and the 7 spin to block the track, reacting to the 24, and they're the ones that have the track blocked. Like, and then everybody else stops behind it. I don't understand what's so hard about, and it would have hurt our team. So I'm glad it didn't happen. But the track's blocked. I get it. Okay, great. We should go as we come out of that pack. Once they get the track unblocked, or however it works, like that's how you line up. Like not like because there's literally we probably gained 7 spots out of that, 6, 7 spots, and I loved it. But like I don't, I don't know. I don't get the rules. I thought that if you maintain reasonable speed, like the 6 and them guys did at Darlington, they were about 50, 60 miles an hour. They got their spot back. The 21 had an issue. I forget where it was. Maybe Gateway. He slowed down more. He was down to about 20, 30 mile an hour. He didn't get his spot back. We stopped yesterday. Somehow got our spot back. I'm just, as always, begging for consistency, and I'm still not seeing it.
Yeah, I'm spot off because there was actual cars that did like stop and wreck. And I mean, and the track wasn't blocked until the 4 car pulled up and blocked the track. He's the one that pulled up to the wall in front of him because a couple, 2, 3 cars went by and Truex was getting ready to go by. And I think it was the 4. Was it the 4, Freddie, or the 7? I think it was the
I
4.
don't remember which one it was. I think it was a 4.
It was the
But I
four.
mean, he pulls up and blocks the track. And to me, I think you look at the road course stuff, you look at accidents here and you say, okay, you were the cause of the yellow. I mean, they threw the yellow for what? The 24, the 4, and the 7. Those were the 3 cars I think that you threw the yellow for. And I think if you're the reason for the yellow, you don't get to retain your track position. And I mean, otherwise, who's to say you need a yellow and you get three of you just to block the track and stop? They throw the yellow, then you just take off again, then you get a free yellow. I think if you're the reason for the yellow, I think it's an automatic no brainer here and it would stop people from blocking the track too. And I mean, you'd hope anyway, but it didn't really hurt us because we got legacied in turn 6 the first lap of the race by the torpedo in the 43, which was awesome. So
You should have been
yeah,
going faster. You wouldn't have been in his way.
I mean, if we went any faster, we were going to hit the wall like he did. So um, apparently, yeah. So that was disappointing to have somebody overdrive that much and ruin your day that quick in the race. And I don't know, man. I think if you're the reason for the yellow, you should not get your spots back for people stopping to avoid from plowing into you. I mean, now you're just saying we all should just hammer down and plow through there instead of being safe about it. If you're the cause for the yellow, you're going to the back no matter what. Road street racing.
NASCAR shortened the race length from 100 to 75 laps midway through the event, upsetting crew chiefs and drivers who were set on a specific strategy. Freddie, spot on, spot off.
I mean, 1,000% spot off. I feel like there was a few different ways this could have been handled, and when we didn't take any of those avenues, it's for one to start like to we knew. I mean, first of all, there's a rule in place, which obviously I know we were going to do everything we could to get out of there yesterday. Like we did not want to be there today racing. So I have no issues with you. I kind of knew. I think I was tweeting with you or texting with you guys in the text. Like you might see some stuff that's unprecedented today, just because we need to get the hell out of here. Like it was pretty obvious that this weekend wasn't going great for the city side of things, and we needed to get out of there yesterday. So we started that race maybe with not enough time. Normally the rule is that we need to start the race with an ample amount of time to complete the race. And I don't think that happened yesterday unless, I mean, maybe if you were considering it going green to checker without any cautions, we could have gotten it in before dark, but it would have been tough. So there's going to be yellows. There's going to be the pace is slowed because we're starting in the wet. Um, so if that's the case, there's ways to go about this before the race starts or as the race gets started. You see what the pace is to make it fair for everybody, whether or not it's saying we're racing until sunset. Yesterday we looked up, I think it was 8:29. Hey, we're racing until 8:20. That gives everybody an idea of okay, whatever it's 8:20 and we're throwing the white flag. There's one more lap to go at 8:20. Then everybody knows how long we're racing, and they can base their strategy off of that. The biggest thing is you cannot shorten a race and then have the laps remaining less than a fuel run. We could run probably 37, 38 laps on a tank of fuel yesterday. Well, all of a sudden you make the race. We're back there, and the 8 and the 22 did the same as us. We're just pitting because we're running in the back. Like the yellow would come out, we're no reason not to come top off. Well, all of a sudden now we're rolling around under caution, and I knew, like we heard them say something on the radio, like, "Hey, all the officials have like a number to identify themselves. They don't say like, hey Kip, go here. It's usually I think Kip's number is like 47, so it's like 47, go to this channel or whatever. So we hear them say, hey, go to the go-to channel, and I looked at Nick Payne, who was right behind me, and I think he was leading or running second at the time, and I said they're getting ready to do something with whether I don't know if they're going to throw the checker right now or change the distance or say we got what time. And then they come up and say there's essentially 25 laps to go or 28 laps to go. I'm like, well, wow, they just royally f***ed all the leaders, because at this point, I'm like, we can make it on fuel, and now the 8 can make it on fuel, and the 22 I think was another one that could make it on fuel, and the leaders can't. The leaders all had to pit. They all needed to come. So now I think there was 11 of us that stayed out, and then put them guys behind the 8 ball of Christopher Bell was in control of that race. He was the dominant car. He was in control, and I don't know. I think he restarted 12th probably on that restart just for the fact of they just made a call to change the distance of the race and not make it a fuel window. And if like if you're thinking the other way they could have handled this, I think, and maybe I don't know, would have helped a whole lot, but it would have helped some. Was they should have announced it. They announced the change after the pit cycle. Like if they would have just let these guys come around and pit and then say, because now you're not making your pit decision based on we're running 25 more or 28 more laps, whatever it was, there might not have been as many guys stayed out. I think we were going to stay out because we had a number like if we can gain 5 spots, we were going to do it. I'm sure the 8 and some of them guys that pit real late in that the first or second stage would have done the same thing. But you just gave these guys carte blanche to go, hey, well, hell, we got 2-3 laps on our tires and we can make it on fuel. We might as well stay out now because there's only 20 to go or 28 to go, whatever it was. It's just I feel like we just dropped the ball there where you put the guys that were leading and in control of the race at a severe disadvantage by changing the distance as late as they did.
I don't really think it was a fair shake for the 20 car or the leaders up there because it basically shifted, like, Freddie mentioned it, the 31, the 3, the 2, all them, got shuffled right to the front because of a race being shortened. And, I wasn't sure they could make it on fuel. And I asked Matt, I'm like, Matt, how far can these guys go? And he's like, oh, they're good. And I'm like, oh, okay.
NASCAR knows these guys can run within a 5-lap fuel window. If you have this number of 75 in your head, you've got to subtract 37, 38, whatever it is from 75, and that's your cutoff point. Like, you can't make it you cannot shorten the race shorter than a fuel run. You can't do it because you've just changed the race. And I know, the 20 had an opportunity to get there, because the 91 did. But at the same time, he just got penalized essentially 11 spots because of the call they made, or 10 spots. And they would have run the race differently, way differently, if they knew they were only racing a lap 75.